Hey, oops, went over me. Um, hey, today I'm absolutely thrilled to have a wonderful friend who's also just gone through so much growth in her life and is now a powerful shamanic healer on the show. It's going to be a good one, full of laughter and joy and and a lot of other stuff. And see you in a minute.
Today's guest, Ina Lukas.
Ooh, let me tell you about Ina. Okay, we're getting all the awkwardly awesome out at the beginning. Okay, yeah, this is great. Okay, Ina Lukas is a shamanic channel and healer who has helped people around the world free themselves from anxiety, depression, weight issues, financial fears, phobias, parenting problems, business blocks, health issues, and more. She is the founder of the Kairos. She is co-founder of the Kairos Healers Academy, a year-long trade school for the healing and intuitive arts. Ina's unique approach combines playfulness and levity along with laser-focused intuitive skills, allowing people who are ready to create a shift in their life to have fast, fun, life-changing results. Fast, fun, life-changing results. She lives and plays in her magical treehouse in Encinitas, California. Please welcome Ina Lukas.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Ina. I'm so glad to have you on. Thanks for being you.
Likewise, my friend. It's so good to be here in this space with you. I'm excited to dive deep with you. It's always a fun conversation wherever we go, Jason.
So first of all, just tell us what is a shamanic healer?
Great question. Well, shamanic healing. There are shamans in cultures and civilizations all over the world. There have always been healers in societies. There are, I guess, there's a thing that's called core shamanism, where there are just kind of specific attributes that shamanic healers have worked with, throughout time, and shamans tend to be people that are able to pierce the veil, to be able to see into the darkness, to kind of be in that place between worlds of the conscious and the unconscious, and to really be able to connect in with the spirit realm. And there's, in societies all over the world, there are these different key things that tend to be traits that come through in healers. Like a core shamanic belief is that dis-ease, depression, anxiety, any kind of physical or emotional issue comes from a place of soul loss. So like when a trauma happens to somebody, that could be as, as big as sexual abuse, emotional, physical abuse, or as simple as falling off your bike, like having a jolt to the body, and like big T trauma, little T trauma, like each of those things that sort of like cause
big T trauma, little T trauma. Cool.
That when there is some form of impact, like being shamed in front of your class by a teacher, anything like that, where the impact causes part of you to leave the body. So because it's too much. And so in that, the shamanic belief is that part of the soul leaves the body. And so like in childhood, this can happen multiple times. And even in adulthood, that part of you leaves, part of you leaves, part of you leaves. And then what happens is that then there's space for other energy to come in, or even it's like sort of a loss of sense of self. And so oftentimes then what happens is when there's less of you there, there's more of a desire to fill it up with other things like alcohol or never quite feeling right, never quite feeling like you're fully in your body. And so one of the core kind of shamanic healing modalities is soul retrieval, where we go in, like when people are asking, like wanting to heal a current moment physical issue, financial issue, relationship issue, my role is always going in like a bloodhound to the deepest root of what's actually underneath what's going on, to go to the core place of the origin point of the frequency that has continued to play out through their lives. And so often we go in and, it's their 3-year-old self, their 5-year-old self. And, that part of them may be like hiding under a table somewhere, or like completely inaccessible. And there's a process of like their body hasn't actually been a safe place for them to come back to, because their body's been holding the trauma. So they've been in a trauma response. And so there's a whole process of working and clearing trauma and making your body a holy temple that's a safe place for those fragments of you to come back, and actually retrieving those younger parts of you and bringing those parts of you home. And it's profound what happens when someone goes through a soul retrieval. And, especially right now in all that's happening in the world, there's so much depression and anxiety and people operating from the neck up, and they're not really in their bodies, not grounded, spaced out, living in anxiety and fear cycles, because just the trauma of 2020 has caused people to just leave the body. And so part of the process, of what I do is like bringing back these fragments, bringing back these parts of yourself. And then when you're actually fully anchored back into your body, you're like home. And then you're like, oh, the cyclical thoughts that have been taking over my mind are no longer there, because I'm back. I'm back and able to process emotions in my body where they're supposed to be processed, rather than having them whirling up and around in the head.
So this type of anchoring, this type of coming home can calm the mind.
Oh, huge. Absolutely. It's actually, I do it all the time for people. I can just, I see energetic patterning on people, and there's just, depression has a patterning, anxiety has a patterning, and there's different flavors of it in each person. But it's amazing how quickly, people who have had depression and anxiety for years and have been like taking drugs and stuff for it, like I can come in and just like see where the stuck energy is and pull out blocks and like actually allow them to come back in and settle into their bodies. It's pretty mind-blowing when you start to actually see the mechanisms and the patterns of what causes these states of being.
I have a follow-up question to that, but first another healer wants to say hi to you.
Hi, Dan!
What a thrill. Let's
like,
figure this out.
I'm in a Jason and Dan sandwich.
Right?
You're the
Exactly.
bread. I'm the cheese. Look at you guys.
Yay.
Unless we're gluten and dairy free, then you leave the lettuce.
Right.
Veggie patty.
Let us be exactly what you need. Okay.
Oh, it's so good to see your face.
What a
honey.
thrill. What a thrill. You are amazing. It is the month of alchemists. Did you know that? The month of alchemists. Yeah, September is the month of alchemists. So such a thrill that Jason coordinated that. So, what
wow.
Yeah.
So Dan, how has I know Ina has enriched my life immeasurably. How has she enriched your life?
Oh man, there's so many ways. She is such a thrill, and it's so I can't tell where I'm supposed to look because I see you. Anyway, what a thrill. She is such a ray of sunshine, and such a beautiful, beautiful spirit of just being open. You just send this ooey gooey, lovey, huggy. I can't wait to find out more about you. And it's so fun to experience that. You've done that to us with Jill and I myself. We've done that so many times. It's just you were there at the right time at the right place, and it just yeah, I know. Salt and pepper.
Jill, salt and pepper. You're with us too, honey.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. So what a thrill. It's so good to see you and watch you. You in the I don't know how many years it's been. You have kept growing. You never stopped. You never said, well, that's good enough. You just saying, I want more, and you're doing it. And so that's been a blast to watch.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, Dan, so much. All three of us.
Yes, none of us have stopped.
Yeah.
This is so fun to have two people I love so much on the podcast.
2009, I think that's when we met.
Yeah.
Estes Park.
Well,
or 2010.
2009, we were at Estes Park. Yeah. So that was it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
12.
Okay. And Katie, and then oh my gosh, yeah. Just
Cool. Well. Thanks so much for coming on, Dan.
Absolutely. Love you guys both so much.
Love you, Dan. Oh, I'm seeing Linda. Hi, Linda.
Oh.
And Harmony.
Linda says, yay, darlings. and Harmony says, do you want to read that?
Yeah. Wow. The parts of me leaving due to trauma when the feelings need to be processed and dissolved in my body explains so much. It's huge. Like once people get that, you really understand. It makes so much make sense. And it can be simple things like you don't realize, like if you were put under anesthesia, like if you had a surgery, when you're put under, you can leave the body and sometimes not come back, or parts, and so sometimes after people have surgery, they're just like different. Like maybe you've had that or seen that, where it's like they're not just all quite back, and so it can show up in so many ways, but the difference of processing emotions from the neck up versus processing in the body is so huge and so critical at this time right now. I mean, critical because this is a real mental health issue that's going on for people right now, beyond the virus is what it's doing to people mentally. And so the more we can be in our bodies, because what's happening is we have a whole collective of people that are, popping out of their bodies. And so the more we can get collectively people back in the body, back in the body, back in the body, the more we're like anchoring that energy in planetarily, and you become, your nervous system then is be able to co-regulate and help other people, relax into their bodies.
I want to talk about a guy who was living from the neck up in a minute, but first I want to ask, so what you do is highly nuanced, and it's a set of skills that were you just born with these skills, and like as a little kid did you say, someday I'm going to be a shamanic healer?
No, not at all.
And quickly, kind of what was your journey like? Were you called linear?
Yeah, it was a straight line.
Like from point A to point B?
I was born and I said, I want to be a shamanic channel. And then I was, and that's the end of the story.
Wow, that's easy. Well, there you have it, folks. See you next week.
No, I was a very sensitive child, very shy. And
would you say you were highly, they have that thing called highly sensitive now, would you say you were highly sensitive?
I don't know if that's the label that I would put on it, but I think like a lot of people who are naturally, empathic tend to be having experiences as children that maybe, got dismissed, as, well, that's not okay. That's not normal. So, but I didn't I was very sensitive as a child, and I was the kind of person that people would come to with their, with their issues. I think I was a safe place for people to process their stuff. But no, I was a landscape designer, horticulturalist for 20 years, and part of that
for 20 years, I didn't realize it was. Wow.
Yeah, I started at a young age, and so in that process of being a landscape designer, I was very immersed in the world of plant spirits and connection to nature, nature cycles, and as a designer, I was always, when I would work with the client, I was always about getting myself out of the way, because I didn't want to put my design ideas onto a client. I was more about what is it that they really want, and I get to be the conduit through which, and I have the knowledge of the plants, and how they interact together, and their harmonious relationships. But it was more about, I would go in knowing that they had their team, I had mine, and it was about me being a conduit for the design to come through me. And in all of those years of constantly getting myself out of the way, to be of service to my client, that's what I really started priming the pump of unknowingly, was being a channel.
Quick question: when you said, when you say they had that team and I have my team, will you explain? Well, explain a little about that.
Well, I guess, just in my personal belief system, we are non-physical beings who are in a physical body, and that we have a non-physical, we have our higher self, we have our guides, our those that have crossed over, kind of a non-physical team that's always with us and guiding us and popping in and out in different ways. But that kind of just bigger connection to source, to spirit, to God, whatever you want to call it, the universe.
That's beautiful. So landscaping, primed landscaping and horticulture primed the pump for channeling. What happened next?
So then and this is the part of the journey that you really watched me on, was then the alchemist started coming to me, and you were one of the early people, Jason, who experienced the very beginning of my channeling.
So how did we meet? Which ties in with the story. Did we meet at the DMV? Did you give me a high five?
I no, we didn't high five at the DMV. We met at the Laughter Yoga Conference in Estes Park, where we met Dan and Jill and Linda, and I can't remember if that was the year going through. We both became certified laughter yoga teachers, and
I think this was before that, because we became certified in a basement in Chicago.
Oh, okay. I forget which basement we did what training in. Jason and I traveled a lot of places together.
Yeah.
Physically, like we've gone to many conferences. So, but the first time we met was Jason's first time. He gave a presentation at the Laughter Yoga Conference, and it was your first time public speaking.
It really, I mean, I had been forced to speak for school and stuff, and always hated it, but this was the first time that I really say yes, I want to be up here, and I put away my notes and I just spoke from the heart, and after that presentation, you channeled for me in a way that still gives me I don't know if it was way after that presentation, but so fast forward, we do the training in Chicago, and then we both end up in San Diego, and one night you're dropping me off, and we are talking in your car, and you say, and this still gives me goosebumps. You say, Jason, your speech is a gift.
Yeah.
Can you say any more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think up until that point, it was more like it felt like your experience was more of that it was like an impediment. Right?
Yeah.
Like something impeding you.
Yeah, to put it mildly.
Versus, I think that was the turning point of really getting that this voice of yours really truly is your biggest gift. And who you are through your voice and through what could be deemed as a speech impediment was actually the biggest catalyst for you being such a, I mean, Jason, you are such a profound channel of human innocence and joy. Like there's just such a purity to who you are that just you have this way of connecting to people that goes straight to their heart. And your voice is the transmission of that, because you are awkwardly awesome. We are all awkwardly awesome, right? But yours comes through in the voice, which allows people to have the most humbling human experience with you.
Thanks for that. Thanks. And would you say that I've never asked you this. This is the first time asking you this. But would you say during those moments in the car that you were channeling that information?
Mm-hmm.
At that moment in your awareness of what you were doing, would you have been like, I was channeling that, or did you only come to understand that some years later?
Great question. 'Cause I don't really remember space and time much anymore, Jason. Like what, when, where was that in the chronology? But what I will say to that is that like being a channel isn't something special. We're all channels. You know, it's not like some God like special gift that some people can channel. We are all channels in the sense of we all have the ability to connect to our higher self, to connect to something bigger, and that can come through in, you know, musicians are incredible channels. You know, they're the creativity that channels through. You know, artists are you know, like they're channeling their creativity. You know, sports players that are in the zone, like, you know, they're channeling their you know, that the extreme gift of physical abilities through them, and so we all have that ability to tap into that place that draws from something bigger that comes through us. And for me, I'm a you know, a vocal channel, so I hear and receive blocks of thought. So it's almost like an imprint is given to me, like, you know, early on, like when we first met and I first started. So I channel a collective called The Alchemists. And, you know, early on, it was like I was getting messages, you know, like in my ear, like I'd be talking to somebody and I would just start to like hear this message coming through. But it's not, it's almost like a block of thought that's a transmission that then gets spoken through me. So when I'm really in a channeling state, you know, my eyes are closed and Ina, like my ego mind is out of the way, and I'm just a conduit that's allowing the transmissions and the messages that I'm hearing to come through me. So, and you know, people channel writing, you know, like when you just like drop into a state and, you know, you can allow writing to come through you that feels like I can't believe I just wrote this. I mean, you channel writing, you know, like
So this is the perfect time to bring up Kairos, because tell me a little about it and how it helps people get in touch with these gifts so they can help others.
Yes. So for many years now, I've been doing private one-on-one sessions with people and leading retreats and, you know, doing group workshops and stuff. I transitioned from, you know, my channeling of the alchemist then just kept becoming deeper and deeper and really transitioned into shamanic healing. You know, so like I'm a shamanic channel. I'm channeling when I'm doing the healing. And for me, part of that process, and I am actually answering your question, but part of that process was I've never been trained as a shaman. I never trained how to channel, but because I allowed myself to with strong boundaries and, you know, and high integrity, because I allowed myself to be a conduit for that information to come through me, all of these gifts started coming through. Like, you know, I've been a healer for lifetime. So the realm that I work in is that I'm bringing in all of these gifts and skills from past lives, from previous lives, and they're coming through. And so one of the things that I'm most interested in is I homeschooled my kids for 16 years. I love like the unschooled mind. And so there are all of these healers on the planet right now. And a lot of them don't even know that they're healers, or they sort of know, or they're like, I feel like I have these abilities, my hands get hot, I feel things, I sense things. And, but I'm not a healer, or, but I couldn't really do that. And so I've had so many people asking, like, can you teach me these skills? And, like, I want to train to do what you do. And so I sort of knew that something was about to start coming through to me in terms of a training school. And then my beloved friend and colleague, Janet Raftis, who is an incredible channel of the divine feminine, energy healer, Reiki master, psychic medium. She just has she's just an incredible, so many intuitive skills, and also a teacher of intuitive development. She and I came together and realized, we're actually creating this school together. And so what Kairos is it's a year-long trade school it's a trade school that teaches the healing and intuitive arts. And it is so it's teaching people psychic mediumship, channeling, different aspects of shamanism, and, like kind of just core base psychic development skills, healing skills. But it's so much more than that. It's actually training people how to be a professional healer with integrity. And there's so much to that. There's so much to the nuances and the level of work that happens in the healing world. And, there's a lot of boundaries and things that get crossed in that world. So it's teaching healers how to be professional healers with integrity, while also being able to financially support yourself, because you should be supported in the work that you're doing. And we need healers more than ever right now. So what Kairos is so there's Chronos. So Chronos is linear time. Chronos is, the Gregorian calendar.
From A to B.
Yeah, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, time goes from past to future, and it only goes forward. And Kairos is soul time. So, like these are the Greek roots of where Chronos and Kairos come from. So Kairos is when you're actually dropping out of linear time and dropping into soul time and synchronicity and opportunity. And so Kairos is the space that healers actually work in, because when I go into session with somebody, I'm stepping out of linear time and dropping into the soul space where the like when you're going into the core of the healing, it could come from, a childhood experience. It could come from a past life trauma that happened. Like there is no time, but we're just going into the place where the healing that affects the now moment actually occurs. And so that's kind of the called the Kairos Healers Academy, is because it's actually an ancient wisdom school that people who have worked with these trades before, like they're drawn in, like they feel it, like this is speaking to me. So Kairos is the whole school itself steps out of linear time and moves into cyclical time. So the school year starts on Samhain, November 6th this year, which is the beginning of the turning of the wheel of the year in terms of the seasons. So Samhain is the midpoint. It's the cross quarter point between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. And that's the beginning of the wheel of the year, which has 8 points, the solstices and equinoxes and the cross quarters in between, Beltane and Samhain and Bridget, and so
Almost going back to your horticultural roots.
Oh yeah.
With the, it all ties together.
It all ties together. Like what we've lived is all coming together of why we're doing what we're doing now, right? Like where you're like, oh my God, now every piece along the puzzle was a necessary piece. So yeah, so our curriculum is made up of 8 wheels. It's not linear curriculum. We take people through each season and 8 wheels of psychic development and the sacred scribe, self-expression, and sacred wealth. Like, because for a lot of healers, the 2 main blocks are in actually being a successful professional healer are their issues with money and self-worth, and like asking for money and managing money and all of that. And then the other biggest one is the fear of expressing self, that and their voice, oftentimes coming from the witch wound, which is, for you to be listening in, like this is all just the belief system that I live in. Take what's right for you, leave what's not. But there are a lot of healers that are really scared to speak their truth, because in past lives they were burned at the stake. They were tortured, they were killed, they were stoned, for speaking their gifts and for having intuitive abilities and for being healers or herbalists or, whatever. And now we're witnessing that play out in mass right now, the persecution of people who are speaking up, with different ways to heal what's going on right now, because there are all kinds of alternative ways, and but that their voices are being silenced. It's like one narrative that's coming through. So one of the wheels it's the sacred scribe, and it's spending the year like working through, like releasing blocks in expression, but also coming into what your unique self-expression is, whether it's through writing, whether it's through speaking, whether it's through video, so that you become comfortable as a healer in the truth of your unique voice, while developing your psychic gifts, and so there's also practicums where all the students are practicing on each other, developing their gifts, and so it's like, and we were working with medicine animals, like each of the 6-week segments of the Wheel of the Year, there's different medicine animals. So it's like this incredible sacred container that is going to be just a profound year of radical transformation and self-growth, that at the end of the year, our students come out with, their website, their branding, their funnels, and their whole business set up around their specific gifts, so that they can go out into the world and be a healer with integrity. And that's the core. Like, there is a certification, but it's like being a certified, Kairos healer of integrity, where you're bringing clean, clear, true work into the world, because we need healers more than ever right now.
So sounds like just such an amazing study. In this day and age, speaking of leaving the body, I have to ask, is this a virtual curriculum, or is this an in-person?
Yeah. No, it's a virtual school, and it is a school. Like, we have 4 to 5 classes a week. It's a year-long school, and we're bringing in guest teachers that are doing business trainings, and and different, the different mediumship skills and different psychic skills and things, and legal, so that your business is set up all legally. It's like coming out with, everything that you need to really build your business. So it's one big support system. That's actually like taking you, but it's taking you out of linear time and patriarchal time and bringing you back into goddess energy and connection to the earth and the matriarchal, cyclical way of being, so that you're more tapped into your truth. Because when you're brought back into connection with your own cycles and your own nature, that's when you really become the clearest conduit for the healing modalities that are coming through for you. So it's crazy.
Wow.
It's so powerful. I'm so excited.
I love it because so many trainings just do part of it. Like they teach you the skills, but they don't teach you the business aspect, or they teach you the business but don't teach you the skills too. It sounds like Kairos really very intentionally builds a bridge between the two. It's a trade school.
It's an ancient trade school using modern technology, because the business skills for healers, while a lot of them are, sort of universal, business marketing skills, but for healers, it's very specific. In clean, clear marketing and clean, clear messaging. And so it very much is like setting you up in a very fine-tuned to you, creating the business. It's almost like your business being created from you and around you, but from like a place of your truth and your unique voice. Because, I really believe that each of us came in with our own unique skill set, and each of our skill sets are needed. There is no competition. And now more than ever, we need everyone bringing their skill sets online. And, whether you're a teacher, a mathematician, a stay-at-home mom, a car salesman, an engineer.
A woman.
A
a car saleswoman.
Right, exactly. A car saleswoman, a car salesperson, there. So being a healer, and also like in Kairos, like some people are asking, gosh, I really I don't necessarily want to have my own healing practice, but I'm so interested in the skill development and, in being a part of it. And, and that's the thing, this, you don't necessarily need to want to be a professional healer. If you're drawn to it, you're bringing your healing in, as a car salesman, as an accountant, as an engineer, and those people when you meet them, even at the grocery store, the people that hold the magic, and you just feel better when you're in their presence and having those interactions out in the world. And so this really is about, it's like the everyday healer, where you're bringing those healing skills, to the post office with you, to the grocery store, that impact that's coming through, that's a transmission that causes magical interactions with people that need to have those magical interactions with you in that moment. That's Kairos.
One more question that I'm getting ahead is really important before we change subjects. You've mentioned boundaries several times, and that Kairos teaches boundaries. What are the importance of having good boundaries as a healer? And what is the importance?
Everything.
So it's not important at all, you're saying?
It is one of the most critical skills as a healer to have clean, clear boundaries. And oftentimes a lack of boundaries shows up as leaky gut, as digestive stuff. And, and it comes from, childhood. Like a lot of people who are empaths, intuitives, grew up in households where they had an alcoholic parent or some kind of abuse, or really a lot of anger, a lot of yelling around them, or, a parent that was like bipolar or some kind of mental issues, or, narcissistic parents. And in those childhood relationships, there often is a lack of boundaries, because you're very much on the drama triangle of, being a rescuer, being a victim, having the perpetrator there, and not knowing how to speak up, or having your voice silent so that you can't actually speak up for your own needs, and you can't say no. And so then you just like go through life as, in whatever ways, like a people pleaser, or, putting other people's, like if you had to juggle, like a household where parents were always fighting, or, like you had to do this dance to make sure that everyone else's needs were being met, without regard for your own. And so then that plays out in all kinds of money issues, and physical symptoms, and emotional issues, and and it shows up in that way. And so if a healer doesn't have clean, clear boundaries, it's like you need a sacred container in the healing space, because you're going into people's trauma, you're going into people's pain, and if you don't have boundaries, you're not a safe space.
And you're just reactivating yourself over and over again. Probably, right?
Yeah. And so, part of the journey is like, we're constantly healing our own stuff, like going in, so a big part of Kairos, of the school, is deep self-healing. That's the journey of the healer, is doing your own healing,
doing your own work.
Yeah, doing your own work, so that you're, creating a clear space for the people that, that you're working with. And so clean, clear boundaries can show up in, like not having appointment boundaries, like not having an appointment calendar, or, running over, on your calls, like being late, like having money stuff, like leaky boundaries with money, or feeling weird about accepting it, or the exchange of it. But especially in the psychic realm, in the channeling realm, if you don't have boundaries, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. So people that just open themselves up and are like, I want to channel. You become an open, Ouija board, where there is darkness out there. No joke. There is, there are all kinds of dark energies that we want to play. Yeah. And you'd like, there's a rule in my house with my teenagers with Ouija boards, like, you can't, because people just open themselves up and they don't know what they're doing. And then they invite in all kinds of spirits, and they don't know who's actually coming to the table. So to work in the realm of mediumship, channeling, psychic development, you have to have clear, like food dog boundaries about who you're letting in.
Well, thank you for that. And we've been talking about different ways of healing, and one we touched on briefly, but it's been such an important part of our journey is laughter. And with that, see if you know this person.
I laughed so much when I saw like Jason, Ina, and Dan. It was like,
oh, hi Linda. Oh, honey.
how I miss you too. Oh dear.
Oh,
so good to see you.
Just kissing your cheeks.
I'm taking everything. The hugs, the kisses. See, have this, da-dee-da-dee. Okay, like this. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So you two briefly, will you please both tell me about the power of laughter as a healing mechanism, or not? You know what I mean.
To me, this is the best way to release anything. And I've been experiencing a very interesting year. And this is the best way that I've found to that and tears, but it's less messy to laugh, and it brings like it pumps everything, like the creative juices, the peaceful state of mind. Everything is like easier when I laugh. See, you were talking about like you don't know what you're calling in, and sometimes I do this. Hello. Your soul talking to you. Are you listening? It's this hour. I'm not going to change my settings. It's this hour of the day where the sun is. You guys are a ray of light.
The darkness and the light.
Exactly. Ha ha ha. Actually, I was listening to what you said earlier, and I met the two of you there at Estes Park, because Ina, you were on the list of people. I was living in Quebec, not knowing anybody, like not knowing the space, and I was in charge of transportation. So it was like, I remember when you were having that garden. And I remember meeting you the first time, and I thought, this woman is grounded and she has a gift for something. And Jason, we were sitting together for an exercise that we did. I think it was during Katie's workshop.
Yeah, which was also magic.
Yes, and I kept that the thing that you wrote, because I thought, this is just precious. This guy has a gift with words. Seriously. I'm always jealous a bit, not jealous, like, but I'm very, very happy when I meet people who have a gift that they use and I see them bloom. So I see both of you blooming.
Thank you.
Love fest.
And briefly tell us, what do you do with laughter? How do you help people heal, Linda, through laughter?
Well, this is something that I always saw myself as a person who helps others open their hearts with laughter. Because when you're laughing, you're not in there. You're down here. You're in your heart. So you're with the very, I would say, the true self, the real you, not the one who's judging or evaluating or is keeping up with the appearances. It's the true you, because when you're laughing with people, even if you don't know them, you're connecting with something that's so powerful that you cannot ignore that. Even sometimes I go shopping. I just go do my grocery shopping sometimes, and I make the cashier, like the person at the cash register, I make them laugh. And I helped someone laughing today. And sometimes it's about something so silly, like, okay, I didn't bring my coupons, but, and they usually they look at me and they, like you were saying, Ina, when you do your grocery shopping, if you meet someone with that presence, you feel that. So I think that laughter is helping. This is it's way too strong. I'm going to try to, because it's right there in the line. So I think that laughter is a true gift that we have to use as much as we can to raise the vibrations and make sure that we shine a positive energy, and the vibration that comes out of us is positive and peaceful and loving. I'm sure that everybody watching, I'm sure that you know somewhere that what I'm saying is, oh yeah. Even if sometimes we just think that laughter, that's just, oh, it's fun. It's fun. Yes, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But it's way deeper than just
I love your laugh so much, Linda.
It's such a pleasure to see you, Linda, all the way from Canada. Thanks so much for coming on. We love you.
So beautiful,
we love
both
you.
of you. You're in my heart forever and ever. Be well.
Yeah, and I think for me, one of the most powerful things about laughter is, well, there's so much to it, but laughter actually lets us go deep into our darkness. Which a lot of people may not realize. They might think, oh, laughter is like, ha ha ha, light and joy. But, for me, like I'm also a certified laughter meditation leader, and I love, doing like 45 minutes of laughter meditation where you're just laying there laughing for no reason. But when you're doing it, in a group that way, when you're laughing for that extended period of time, it allows you to get out of your head and get into your body, which, speaks to what I was talking about earlier. Like, laughter is an embodiment process, but in the laughter with that diaphragmatic action, you actually are able to become more of an observer of what's going on, but you can also go into the grief and into the sadness, but you can go in, like into the grief and have tears, and sobbing come up in the laughter, that like release. It's like laughter is like a natural body healer. I mean, it's literally a medicine that we produce within ourselves that gets us in our body and shakes and moves things and causes those deeper stuck emotions to come up and out. But it does it in a field of levity. And so that's the thing, like the higher you're able to go, the deeper you're able to actually go down into the darkness too. And so like laughter creates more breadth. It really is its own healing mechanism. And, like from all the things I've read, like a true shaman really has a twinkle in their eye, like a true shaman is actually like giggling and laughing because, you need to be able to access the lightness in order to go into those dark places. Because then you don't get stuck there, like you come up and out in the. Yeah.
Does the laughter almost create a boundary between so you don't go too deep?
I would.
I don't know. That might be totally false. It just came to me. It might be totally.
I actually see it as a gateway that allows you to get into the depths because the laughter opens up and allows you to get more vulnerable within yourself. It creates an openness that allows you to go deeper. And I don't know if it's quite boundary as much as it's almost like bubbly cleaning formula that allows you to go into the darkness and into places that you might not have been able to access without that kind of levity. Like it actually gets you to go deeper and clear out the carrion. Yeah, allows deep feeling without suffering. Yeah. Yeah, because we're not meant to suffer, like if we're staying in it, then we're in this blocked, lockdown, resistant point. And that really is suffering. Whereas laughter, allows you to, oh my God, that's crazy. I've been stuck in that pattern for 20 years. That's nuts. And when you finally see it, you get the cosmic joke, right? And, yeah.
So in my business, one of the things I love to talk about is the power of doing our imperfect best, and what that means. I'm always finding new things it means to me, but what does that mean to you?
Doing your imperfect best. That's what you asked?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a great question. There's so much perfection and imperfection. I feel like people may not fully acknowledge how perfect it is to be human. Like the perfection to me of being exactly where you are in all of your sloppiness, your rawness, your vulnerability, like, to me, perfectionism keeps people in a gap state of thinking they need to be somewhere else, but feeling like they're here, but never actually getting where they want to be. And when you're in the full embrace of the perfection of the imperfection, that's really like, that's the embodiment of Kairos. It's like, like everything is happening. I really believe that you wouldn't be exactly where you are right now if you weren't meant to be there in that moment, in the unfolding of who you are, because in each moment there's so much medicine that's available to you.
In each moment, there is so much medicine that's available to you. That's whole. Getting a lot of goosebumps, but that gave me goosebumps. In each moment, there's so much medicine available to you.
In the darkness, in the light, like the deeper we go into each moment, like exactly what we need is constantly being given to us, but we're so often ignoring it or being resistant and tight fists instead of being open to the medicine and the magic that's being given to us in the imperfection of the perfection of what is.
So we could talk for hours, and eventually we would go off on crazy tangents that only you and I would laugh at, and everyone else would be what? But it's
Jason and I have spent hundreds of hours laughing at ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Our own universe.
Yeah. So how do people find out more about Kairos?
KAIROS Healers Academy.com. The actual official page for the school is going to be arriving soon, but there we have our healers initiation and a sacred wealth creation course, and that's the place to start the entry points into the school, and registration will be opening in the next couple of weeks. But right now we're doing a really powerful healers initiation that people can still join for gateways of a healers initiation into Kairos.
Did I get that way?
KAIROS Healers Academy. You did. Spot on. Well done.
Cool. Well, it's just such abundance and such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for the phenomenal healing impact you've had on my life and the lives of countless other people. You are a rock star. You are a superhero, and I'm so honored to call you a friend.
Oh, Jason, everything you said right back at you. I just love and adore you and the healing that I've received from you and all of our friendship just so much. I just love you. Thank you for being you and doing what you do here. Awkwardly awesome.
Yay. Wow, that was fun, huh? Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you're just feel as inspired and as joyful and as just good as I do. And tune in next week, of course, for another awkwardly awesome podcast. And that's that. And here's the trailer. But I don't need to say here's the trailer, because when you see the trailer, you'll know it's a trailer. But anyway, here you go. You'll watch it or don't watch it. But okay, bye.